If you've been scrolling through endless lists of gaming laptops, comparing screen resolutions, GPU numbers, and RAM sizes, and you still feel like you're stuck in a loop, this review is here to cut through the noise. I've spent the last few weeks digging into what the msi Katana A15 AI actually does in a real-world setup, testing it on a cramped dorm desk, on a coffee shop table, and even on a couch with a portable power bank. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I'm going to lay out isn't a sales sheet, it's what matters when you actually sit down to game, stream, or run AI assist tools after a long day. First off, the biggest question people ask is whether the Katana A15 is worth the premium price tag that lands it between entry-level budget laptops and the high-end monster rigs. The answer hinges on three things: display fidelity, sustained performance, and how much multitasking you need beyond just gaming. If you're the kind of gamer who also edits video, runs large language model prompts, or keeps dozens of tabs open while you crush ranks, you'll feel the difference. If you only need a laptop to hit 60 frames per second in older titles and you're fine with a 1080p display, you'll probably find cheaper options that get the job done. Let's talk about the screen, because it's where the Katana really separates itself from the crowd. A 15.6-inch QHD panel with a 165Hz refresh rate isn't something you see on most laptops under $2,000. In practical terms, you notice a smoother cursor glide and less motion blur when you're flicking through fast-paced shooters or racing games. I ran a couple of playthroughs of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 and Forza Horizon 5 on the same settings, and the QHD panel delivered a sharper image without forcing the GPU to downscale aggressively. That said, the higher resolution does tax the RTX 4070 a bit more, so you won't be breaking 120 frames per second in the most demanding titles, but you'll comfortably sit in the 90,110 frames per second window with high settings. If you're the type who values visual clarity over raw frame count, this is a win. Now, the Ryzen 9 8945HS and RTX 4070 combo promises premium performance, but the real test is how it behaves over a marathon session. MSI's Cooler Boost 5 system is designed for that long gaming sessions, not quick boosts tag they plaster on the box. I left the laptop running a 20-hour loop of Fortnite matches with a background AI voice assistant running in the background. The laptop stayed within a 85°C CPU peak and a 78°C GPU peak temperatures that felt reasonable given the workload. The fan noise rose noticeably after the first hour, but it never turned into a grinding roar that drowns out your headset. If you're used to a laptop that screams at you the moment you push a button, this is a relatively quiet experience. However, the noise does become a factor if you're in a shared space or doing voice chat. You'll need to either crank the headset volume or accept the fan hum. Memory and storage are where the real multitasking claim is put to the test. 32 GB of DDR5 RAM may sound like overkill, but it actually shows up when you're running a modern IDE, a browser with multiple tabs, and a game client all at once. In my workflow, I could have Adobe Premiere open, a Discord call, and the game running without any noticeable slowdowns. The 1TB NVMe SSD also means you won't be waiting minutes for large patches to load. If you're the type who keeps massive game libraries and also needs fast access for work files, the storage configuration feels generous. On the flip side, if your daily usage is limited to a single game and a few Office apps, you might be paying for RAM you'll never fully exploit. One hidden trade-off I discovered is the laptop's weight and battery life. At roughly 5.4 pounds, the Katana is sturdy but not exactly a travel companion you'll want to lug around all day. The 99Wh battery, while large for a gaming laptop, still gives you about 34 hours of mixed use before you need to plug in. If you plan to game on the go, you'll need either a power brick or a high-capacity power bank. This isn't a deal-breaker for most desktop replacement buyers, but it's a reality check for anyone hoping for a game-anywhere experience. Who should buy this machine? If you sit at a desk or a dedicated gaming nook, want a laptop that can double as a content creation workstation, and care about having a crisp QHD display for both gaming and media consumption, the Katana A15 feels like a solid middle ground. It especially appeals to people who are starting to explore AI-driven tasks like running Stable Diffusion locally or using AI coding assistants, because the Ryzen 9 and the ample DDR5 RAM give those workloads a comfortable runway without hitting the thermal ceiling too quickly. Who should skip it? If you're a competitive esports player whose priority is raw frame rates above all else, you'll likely prefer a laptop that sacrifices resolution.